Hi, Founder Fam. We are back with another episode of Founder Unfiltered. I have made the decision to double down on LinkedIn after 12 years of highly focusing on showing up and creating a personal brand for myself on Instagram. And part of the reason that I'm doing this is I recently saw this woman who's kind of like at the top of the food chain for LinkedIn. Her name is Casey Brown. She had a founder on who was talking about over the last 3 years that she was creating a presence for herself on Instagram. She got, I think, one full converted client. And then on LinkedIn, I want to say she was making like up to 400,000 off those clients, I think in the first year. I can't remember the exact numbers, but I'll add the YouTube link to that particular video in the show notes. But the whole idea for me was, you know what? I've created a lot of brand partnerships and definitely created a great portfolio and a great name for myself on Instagram. And I will continue to use that as like a curated portfolio of real life and of how I've been able to move through the world. And at the same time, now that I'm in an era of my life of wanting to really capture the big fish, which for me is going to be medical marketing and medical marketing positioning with high level physicians and high level integrated medical clinics, I recognize the importance of using a platform like LinkedIn and have been doubling down on it recently. And it's really cool just to even look at the impressions and see where it's going. So much of my time on LinkedIn has been spotty. It's been honestly, more for like job searches over the years and more for just connecting with like old contacts from old positions. And only recently have I said to myself, Natasha Maxwell, like you are a founder and where you need to put your growth marketing and your growth method at this point with the big fish that you want to capture, it has to be LinkedIn. Like these people are not on Instagram with that cap on. Yes, I'm sure many people are on Instagram who also were on LinkedIn, but on Instagram, there's just a different level of what we're looking for when we're on Instagram. Yes, I definitely have a market on Instagram, and a lot of wonderful connections have also been made on Instagram. But when I think about where I'm going with the medical marketing background and with wanting to position heads of clinics, they're on LinkedIn. And they're on LinkedIn with the intention of making connections, growing their practices. How are they able to bring in new patients? They're not on Instagram doing the same thing in the same way. Like even when we think about TikTok, a lot of it is like the rawness of it. It's like a therapist sitting down and not giving therapy lessons, but maybe sharing about either her experience as a therapist or pain points that she sees across patients. And when I think about that for myself, it's very similar. Like I go on TikTok to hear the rawness. I go on Instagram to be inspired by beauty and to be inspired by the astrology girlies and to be inspired by like what's trending in wellness branding. But I'm not necessarily on there looking at it from the same lens. And when I think about a platform like LinkedIn, people are on there with the intention of either booking work, networking, making some sort of connections, and looking at LinkedIn as a warm funnel. One of the things that I've been doing the past couple of weeks is challenging myself to post every single day on LinkedIn, every single day, whether it's a question like I posted last week asking founders of integrated medical clinics, do you guys also use your own personal brand? Do you have a personal brand? And if you do you use that as like a warm top of funnel to then get patients into the clinic? I share about the 3 times I was laid off in the past 20 years. I share about how my zigzag career has led me to exactly what I'm doing and offering and creating results on right now. It's just a different lens than Instagram. I think they both are terrific in their individual ways, but I'm at a point where I'm really putting on the founder cap, not the consultant cap, not the personal brand creator cap, but really like the founder cap. And that for me is doubling down on LinkedIn and showing up on there. And not only just showing up and asking questions, but also sharing more about what I've done, sharing more about the results that I've driven for brands and for companies and even for wellness coaches. Also sharing about how what seemingly looks sporadic on my resume and my background is actually very cohesive, and the context around that in order to build that whole know, like, and trust factor. So I don't know if any of you out there who are listening to me, if you're budding founders, if you're deep in your foundership, is that a word? Is foundership a word? I'm curious, for you all, like, where do you spend the majority of your time showing up? I also know a lot of founders are on Threads sharing their hot takes. And what I've noticed about Threads is that I think it's great for sharing the hot takes, sharing how I really feel about things and my personality around that. And I think it could be great for plugging digital products. When I think about my big fish right now in this era of my life, that's definitely going to be on LinkedIn. Maybe I'll share more about that in the future. Okay. Well, anyways, stay tuned for another episode of Founder Unfiltered next week. Bye, guys.